Welcome back to Central Colorado Ballistics. My name is Wally. Energy looks impressive. Foot-pounds looks decisive. But at the range, data matters more than narrative. I went to test what was framed as a bear skull resistance stack. And after reviewing the footage, that framing stops here. What we tested was not a skull simulation. It was a resistance stack. There's a difference. Today, we clarify it. Before we go further, important clarification. What we tested was resistance stacking, not anatomical simulation. Wood is not bone. And penetration through lumber does not equal penetration through a bear skull. There were two separate configurations. Phase 1, 3 layers of hardwood plywood, stacked and screwed together, leather and denim in front, and behind that, a ballistic gel bear. Phase 2, 20 inches of DIY gel, 2 10-inch blocks stacked in line, 6 inches by 6 inches on the face. The plywood barrier was reused in the back, and behind that was the concrete block. 2 different setups, neither structured for precision measurement. That distinction matters.
22 long rifle.
Roll the 22 long rifle. 44 grain lead. This was the only caliber that did not fully defeat the wood layer. That gives us a baseline. The stack stopped the low mass, low velocity rimfire. That is useful data. It penetrated the wood layer and continued through the stack. That does not mean 9mm is a bare cartridge. It means it defeated this resistance configuration. Nothing more, nothing less. Important distinction. 9mm defeating this stack does not make it a large animal solution. It means it defeated this configuration.
We'll be shooting free munitions, 357, 158 grain, flat point. And free munitions, 158 grain, self-defense ammunition. 357.
Pull up, Mo. As we moved up in caliber, 10mm, heavier bullets, Hardcast designs.
We're shooting the 10 mil.
Then into 44 Magnum. Resistance was no longer stopping the projectile. Structural integrity remained intact, and rounds continued through the stack without visible deviation. And by the time we reached a 44 Magnum, Hardcast, and Xtreme Penetrator, the stack was no longer a limiting factor. They passed through without hesitation. In hindsight, those loads should have been tested against the cement blocks, holding the stack in place. That's not an exaggeration. That's just an observation. Now let's talk about the gel. In Phase 1, some rounds entered the ballistic gel bear. Some passed through. Some never contacted it. In Phase 2, 20 inches of gel were available, but the face was only 6 inches by 6 inches. And I did not verify point of impact with paper reference targets. That means some rounds missed the gel entirely, which means No reliable depth data was collected. That's not a cartridge issue. That's a structure issue. And that gets corrected. Here's the important part. When multiple service calibers easily defeat your barrier is no longer measuring margin. It's measuring minimum threshold. The .22 long rifle established the lower limit. Everything above it had surplus penetration relative to this stack. So the correct conclusion is not which cartridge can defeat a bear's skull. The correct conclusion is the configuration was insufficient to simulate a large animal cranial resistance. That's an equipment limitation, not a cartridge limitation. Let's clean something else up. Carbon buildup tells us how hard a system was run. Barrier testing tells us how well it was structured. Trying to go big, multiple calibers, multiple barriers, multiple configurations, without simplifying the objective, creates noise instead of data. I should have kept the objective narrower. One barrier, one measurable structure, clear impact confirmation. Lesson learned. The 50 Action Express and 429 Desert Eagle were brought. They did not impact the test stack, so they're not part of this data set. No speculation, no assumptions. They'll be part of a dedicated barrier episode. Instead of forcing complexity, we simplify. The next episode, at the range, will focus on controlled barrier penetration. Multiple layers of 2x6 lumber, true 2-inch thickness, stacked in sequence, cut to consistent length, paper target mounted beside the barrier, 5 to 10 feet. Confirmed placement before every shot. One objective, one measurable structure, repeatable format. One more observation. The .44 Magnum, Hardcast, and Xtreme Penetrator rounds had structural integrity throughout the stack. No fragmentation, no veering, consistent path. That matters, because penetration is not just about distance, it's about straight line reliability under resistance. And those loads demonstrated margin. So here's the discipline takeaway. The stack tested barrier resistance, not autonomy. .22 long rifle found the floor. That's the data. Nothing more. Nothing less. The next range episode will not simulate myth. It will measure penetration. Deliberately, repeatably, and without narrative attached. Expansion is impressive. Depth is decisive, but only when the barrier is worthy of the test. Freedom secured, rights defended.